In the headlines, Army, Navy tackles Asari Dokubo on oil theft allegations, challenges him to produce evidence. National Judicial Council probes 7 judges, dismisses petition against Odili and 25 others. Gombe AMLES student gets scholarship to study economics. And on the international scene, Ugandan police and military say militants killed 25 people, abduct others in attack on school. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thank you for joining us. Now the news in full. The Nigerian Army has reacted to allegations by ex-Niger Delta militant leader Asari Dokubo that some cabals in the military are involved in oil theft in the region. The Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, said the Nigerian Army had been vigorously engaged in the fight against illegal oil bunkering, oil theft, illegal oil refining, and other sundry crimes in the region with positive results. This, he said, was evident in the increase in daily oil production from an abysmally dwindling output in the past. Nwachukwu said the Nigerian Army had zero tolerance for any compromise on the part of its troops and would not condone any act of economic sabotage. He promised that the Army Authority will not spare any black sheep in its fold if identified. Dokubo made the allegations after visiting President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Navy has described as spurious the allegations by the ex-Niger Delta militant leader Asari Dokubo that some cabals in the military are involved in the oil theft in the region. Dokubo made the claims when he visited President Bola Tinubu in Abuja on Friday. Reacting to the accusation, the Director of Naval Information, Commodore Adedotun Ayo Vogan, challenged Dokubo to produce evidence and names of those behind the criminality. Ayo Vogan said the Nigerian military and the Navy in particular had been at the forefront of fighting crude oil theft at all levels in the country. He said that while crude oil being stolen from pipelines were being refined in the creeks for the local markets and the local buyers, it was also being stolen by criminals from offshore at sea. According to him, the Nigerian Navy will not be distracted by the allegations and will continue to be acutely involved in the fight against crude oil theft and resources in the Niger Delta. The National Judicial Council has okayed the probe of 7 judges accused of engaging in sundry acts of corruption. This decision was taken by the council, which is statutorily empowered to discipline errant judicial officers in the country. In a statement signed by the NJC Director of Information, Soji Oye, revealed that the judicial officers are from the Court of Appeal and State High Court. The council said it considered reports from various investigation committees and the preliminary complaints assessment committees on petitions written against 33 judges, judicial officers from both the appellate and the high courts, and agreed with the recommendation of the committee that the 7 judges have questions to answer. The NJC, however, dismissed petitions against 26 others, among whom included a retired Justice of the Supreme Court, Mary Peter Odili, for lack of merit, diligent prosecution, withdrawal of the petition being subjudiced, and for the subject judge having retired from service. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, that's Atiku Abubakar, has insisted that the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, that's Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has failed to deliver on the electronic transmission of the election result on election day in real time. Atiku's star witness, Senator Dino Melaye, gave evidence before Justice Harunat Amani led a presidential election petition tribunal in Abuja. Another witness, Ijeoma Osamo, a staff of the African Independent Television, AIT, gave evidence based on a subpoena served on her station. Professor Eric Nwadiegu Ofoedu was recalled to the witness box for cross-examination after he claimed to have discovered 18,088 blood results uploaded to the INEC IREF portals after the election. Ijeoma Osamo told that the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission did not say the commission will no longer transmit results electronically.
You see, our witness is a very experienced person, a legislator, and who played a key role in the legislation, which is the subject matter of this case. And you see how he gave evidence of the innovation by the new Electoral Act, which is this aspect of electronic transmission of results. And that is the bone of contention. And once, as he said, there is no compliance with that provision, apparently, even as you saw in the videos played in court by the statement by the chairman of INEC himself, it affects the transparency, because that innovation is to ensure transparency of results. So this witness who participated in the promulgation of the Electoral Act was so versed in this area of law, and also having been the national coalition agent, he was very key in the affairs of that day. So he is a very competent witness.
Meanwhile, Kaduna State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal is set to begin hearing in the petition challenging the election of Governor Obasani as it concludes pre-hearing session. Obasani has asked the three-man panel tribunal to dismiss the petition filed by the PDP governorship candidate Isa Ashiru because of the procedural errors. The report.
In a motion for dismissal before the three-man panel headed by Justice Victor Ovuawi, counsel for Obasani Bayo Ojo-San argued that the petition, having suffered incurable procedural error, is deemed abandoned by laws guiding petition adjudication. Ojo cited several legal authorities in his written address, especially decided cases of the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal.
You know, we brought an application that the petition is incompetent, and also the pre-hearing notice issued by the petition, as in the PDP case, is also incompetent. So that's what we had this morning and afternoon.
Why you say the petition is incompetent?
Because it was filed out of time. The law allows you 21 days, and they filed outside 21 days. And the law says once you do that, the petition is gone. And also the law gives time within which for you to file your pre-hearing notice. They also didn't do that. So we pointed out to the court. That's what we did.
Counsel for the People's Democratic Party and its candidate Samuel Atung opposed the application. The petitioner's counsel insisted that a competent application for the issuance of pre-hearing notice was made.
What transpired today was a continuation of the pre-hearing session, which to the glory of God has been concluded. Yes, those applications are still pending. They've reserved ruling. They are going to communicate dates for the rulings, maybe in the course of the hearing. You know, the provisions of the Electoral Act as to when ruling in preliminary objections will be delivered is to the effect that it can be taken together with the judgment.
The tribunal will communicate date to the councils for hearing. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Now, respite has come to an AMLES student, Mariam Umar, as she gets a fully funded scholarship to study economics at Gombe State University. Mariam Umar, who rides with her toes, now has a chance to fulfill her ambition to pursue higher education. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
It is a dream come true for the Gombe-born armless Nigerian as she received 1.6 million naira worth scholarship to study economics at Gombe State University. Mariam is very determined to study as she defies all odds to catch up with challenges of new learning environment. I am ready to study by the grace of Allah, and I am determined to succeed. I will show the world that I am capable. It is all about determination. I want my sponsors to be proud of me. The Academic Staff Union of Universities also said the scholarship was awarded to Mariam as part of its social responsibility program, urging other Nigerians to emulate.
And then get the cost implication of sponsoring Mariam, which we did that day. We commissioned the branch to quickly settle the school fees before the closing date of the registration, and the branch did that. So we went through our process, and NEC, our pre-NDC NEC at University of Jos, approved the scholarship to this physically challenged girl. This is not the first time we've been doing this, but we saw that an indigent student and a physically challenged for this matter, such as Mariam, should be assisted.
You know, the cost of living is always on the rise, and the scholarship that is granted to her is fixed. As Gombe State University will complement in order to, meet up or to measure up with the cost of living. That is one. And two, also, the physically challenged Mariam Umar is now our daughter, Asu's daughter. And we intend to take care of her, just like any parent will take care of his child.
In the last 10 years, Mariam's uncle, Abdon Ali, has been leading the campaign to support Mariam's education due to her physical challenge. It is now time to rejoice. I presented her case to the government and lawmakers. Nothing was done about it, but I am glad that the time has come. I commend ASU for their efforts, and we thank Allah for making it possible.
Alhamdulillah.
Umaru Suleiman, Mariam's father, is proud of her accomplishments, just as Mariam sees the scholarship as a golden opportunity to prove that she was only born different but not disabled. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Still on education, some Lagos State residents hail President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for signing the Student Loan Bill into law to assist students from poor background pursue higher education. Other residents asked the members of the 10th National Assembly to support the president to rebuild the country and rejuvenate the economy. Abbas Dalibi now reports.
And parents are with the Student Loan Act, which they believe will improve the education sector in the country. Ike Anobi Ajibola is a mother who is very glad and very happy with the student loan. It will really help our children. President has taken the right step, and we know him for good action since when he was a governor here in Lagos. We will continue to pray for him so that he will do more to us and our country. Nafisat Suleiman Yetunde is a student, and she said that the bill will improve the education of many vulnerable students.
It will help my fellow students, it will help them put full responsibility in their education aspects, where some of them lose focus in class, some of them don't even come to school regularly because they are finding one way or the other to pay their school fees, to make end meet in school. So with this loan that this government has approved, most of our students will acquire this loan, use it to settle for school fees, use it to settle for school bills, use it to settle for school payments, and they'll be able to focus more on activities in school, partake in more activities in school, focus on their studies, so they'll be able to achieve the main aim of them coming to school.
She also urged the government to provide more opportunities for students so that they could be able to pay back the loan after their study. Some Lagos residents call on members of the 10th National Assembly to support the president on his effort to make life better for Nigerians. Ismail Ogamboye wants the lawmakers to formulate laws that will help improve agriculture, education, healthcare, and security. Also provide opportunities for teaming youth who are now jobless. We are praying that God will support the members of the 10th National Assembly as we also urge them to give support to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in his effort to make life better for all Nigerians. President Tinubu signed the student law bill on Monday, June 12, as part of his election promises. Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up, we'll take a look at legal rights of tenants. This and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Update on Trust TV. And here's a recap of our top stories. We brought you Army, Navy tackles Asari Dokubo on oil theft allegation, challenges him to produce evidence. A National Judicial Council probes 7 judges, dismisses petition against Odili and 25 others. Now moving on to more stories, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC Ibadan Zonal Office, has arrested a staff of the Federal Medical Center Idiaba, Abeokuta in Ogun and 47 others for alleged involvement in internet fraud. The statement, signed by the Commission's spokesperson, Wilson Nwajaren, said the suspects were arrested on Wednesday following intelligence on their alleged fraudulent activities. He said that items recovered from the suspects included 7 exotic vehicles, several mobile phones, laptops, and Apple wristwatches, among others. He said that the Oyo State Command of the Nigerian Police also arrested and handed over a cybercrime suspect to the EFCC. Now, finding decent accommodation is often difficult, but living in Abuja in a rented apartment is even more difficult, as house owners called a landlord can decide to sell the property with valid and subsisting tenancy. In this report, Zainab Araye examines how tenants exercise their legal rights.
House owners have the legal right to rent out a property to a tenant for an agreed period. The landlord also has the right to set rules and regulations that guide the conduct of the tenant. The tenant, however, have some legal rights that the house owners is expected to respect. For instance, the tenant has the right of first refusal if the house wants to sell the property. This kind of rights are often observed in the breach. A legal practitioner, Akinsanya Mutiu, said that though the house owners have limitations with regards to rights over property with violent tenancy,
the law is particularly protective of the tenants because of the high-handedness of landlords. But then if tenants also sign agreements they must also know what they are signing. Because when you enter into an agreement with your landlord, some of those things that the tenant should enjoy by default, the landlord can decide to take it away by agreement.
The lawyer said it is legally binding on house owners to provide tenants with information pertaining to the property so rented.
At the beginning of their relationship, there's always an agreement. And that agreement will spell out how they will maintain that relationship going forward. So most standard tenancy agreements will usually have clauses providing on how rents can be increased, at what time they should be increased, so that it is not just that the landlord just wakes up overnight and then increases the rent.
Some tenants say most house owners increase tenancy rates without prior notice, a situation they describe as exploitative.
Where I stay now, I practically fix that house every year, which is part of the landlord's duty to fix his house because I pay him rent for it. But I end up fixing the house. Even my water, I was the one that even supplied water in my house. So you see, I don't think such law, that law, tenancy law, is really active in this country.
So you don't just knock on, say, your door because it's your house and meet the occupant of that house and like we're increasing your rent just like that. Yeah, things are not that like the economy is not that good, but the money too is not that available for the masses for you just to be increasing the rent like that.
Tenancy agreement is required especially to define the rights of the tenant and the landlord, but often do not sign these agreements. Zainab Karaye, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Farmers in Galga community of Ganjua local government area of Bauchi State are worried that fuel subsidy removal is affecting farming activities. Khalid Mohammed, a young farmer among many others, share his fears over the situation. Adamu Imam completes the report.
Fuel price hike has pushed transport fares high in Bauchi, thereby affecting prices of virtually everything. Many farmers express fears that even if bumper harvest is recorded this year, price of food items may go up owing to fuel price hike, which already has pushed transport fares high, and this will reflect in transporting farm produce.
Transporting material and their stuff to the farm is the major challenge, because a farm that you can transport yourself and your material and the farm produce, seed and other things to the farm. Actually, a farm that you can spend like 2,000 to and fro to the farm and going back home, it will raise like 2,000. But actually, nowadays, 4,000, 5,000 cannot be sufficient for you. So this is the really challenge.
Mohammed narrates how the subsidy removal forced his neighbor to abandon his plans for this year's farming season.
He is a Fulani man and he traveled with his cows. So the issue of the challenges of fuel subsidy affected his traveling for him to come back and plant. So this what affected him, but he came back yesterday.
Others said fertilizer and agrochemical sales agents are also not helping the situation. Fuel price has affected us seriously in terms of supply of farm implements, especially sprayer, seeds, and fertilizer. All these are not cheap. The price has gone up. We cannot continue like before. We have reduced the size of our farmlands. Before, we used about 20 to 30 bags of fertilizer, but now hardly we get 4 to 5 bags at a time. For instance, the price of urea fertilizer is coming down, but the price of golden NPK keep on increasing since last year. So we are appealing to the government to look inward and salvage us from the situation we are in. Government announced fuel subsidy removal to free up resources for the critical sector of the Nigerian economy. Adamu Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
And now from the international scene, militants linked to the Islamic State have killed 25 persons and abducted some others in an attack on a school in western Uganda near the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo. Police authorities said the assailants attacked Hubirira Secondary School in the western border town of Mpondwe late on Friday, burning a dormitory and looting food. Authorities said so far 25 bodies have been recovered from the school and transferred to Bwera Hospital. And lastly, in sports, Rangers captain Uche John has assured that the team will win the 2023 Federation Cup. The Flying Antelopes will face Bendel Insurance in the final of the competition next week, Wednesday. The tough tackling defender expressed confidence in his team's ability to record victory in the encounter. The winner of the encounter will play in the next season's CAF Confederation Cup. Rangers are aiming for their 7th Federation Cup title, having won it 6 times in the past. The match is billed for the Stephen Keshi Stadium, Asaba. And with that, we've wrapped up a news update on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thanks for watching.